Why did you find it so important to translate the New Testament?
For many years, I had a secular job. Most of my life, I had a secular job. And I did a lot of traveling in business. And I was often in a motel room in the evening with 4 walls and 200 channels of nothing I wanted to watch. And that got me thinking, as a Christian and interested about people knowing what the Bible says, I thought, a businessman who didn't know anything about the Bible might see a Gideon New Testament and pick it up and start reading it just to curiosity. What is this? I've heard so much about it. And he starts out with a bunch of names that he can't pronounce and has no idea why they're there. And he just throws it aside and never picks one up again as long as he lives, because it's just not worth reading. Well, that led me to think we need a New Testament that doesn't start out like that, that grabs a person's attention in their native language. And in America, which I was focused on, that would be English primarily. I wanted a New Testament that would be interesting to read, that once a businessman picked it up and started reading, he'd get into it and want to read more. I wanted one that would motivate that businessman to want to be part of God's team, practicing care for others.
Do you hope that this translation will change what churches do?
Not really. Leaders in churches that I've dealt with in the past will admit, when I show them what's in the New Testament, they will admit that what I'm saying is true. But then they just go right back to their traditions. The traditions are just too strong and they can't break loose from them. Now, there are people who attend church who will find this very interesting and very exciting. And there are others who won't. That's up to the individual. I wanted to motivate people who are not Christians. In this country, that's right at half of the population of the country. So I wanted them to be able to find a message of Christianity that they could buy into, they could join God's team, a ministry team, and not have to worry about church. No church, that's not the issue. I wanted them to be a part of God's ministry team.
What do you hope will happen because of these interviews?
I would like to motivate people. I would like it to motivate people to buy the New Testament, of course. But I would also like it to be something that they would read the New Testament and start telling their friends, this one is different, this one is better, this one's worth getting it, reading it, following it. And I would like it to motivate people to form ministry teams, small ministry teams that really focused on a ministry and really did that ministry. I think that we would find that those teams grow like crazy, and I hope they don't grow in size so much as in number of teams. And as they grow, they've just established new teams, because the fellowship that's needed is better in a small team than it ever can be in a large team. I would say a team where one of the members of the team doesn't contribute to discussions in the group is too large, and you need to move on and start another team.
Tell me, Charlie, what started you on this project, and why did you stay with it for so long?
That's a good question, Cody. In 1999, my first wife died, and that hit me very hard. I needed to deal with so much at the time that she died. But about 6 months later, I met a lady in Georgia, and I fell for her like a ton of bricks. And we got married. She didn't want to move. I did. So I retired from my secular job temporarily. They later called me back, but I stayed in Georgia. And I got to thinking that this translation of the New Testament needs somebody to do the job of translating it properly. So I got started on it. Well, as I say, I went back to my secular job, put an office in my home, and started working again. But I did it on limited amount of hours in a week so I could work on the translation also. I knew we needed the new translation. I just decided to be the solution that was needed. I kept thinking somebody else should do this, but eventually I just said, be the solution, do the job. Well, we've been talking about the 21st century New Testament, a new translation that moves away from some of the traditions that have plagued Christianity for almost 2,000 years. To learn more about this translation, if you will, go to the website ncm-21.com. You'll find a lot more information about this New Testament. You'll find links to purchase the New Testament, and you'll find the actual glossary that goes with it, the full glossary, which is a good read all on its own. I encourage anyone to go to ncm-21.com.